dioramas. And as I said before in the last segment of this, a diorama really helps make the model, especially, puts it in context and everything. But anyway, this is a diorama that I had made was after I built a tiger tank that I brought here to the show and tell. And, it was a quick little thing I did to, display that little tank. And just want to show you a few things I did, like these trees are scratch built on here. Very little in the way of commercial products like woodland scenics, or although I do use that stuff, I tend to use dye my own sawdust. Like if you take acrylic craft paint, thin it down a little bit, mix it up in some sawdust from your table saw, or wherever you can get a hold of some of it, dry it out on a sheet pan or something like that with a piece of foil on it. Do it in the oven if you want on low temp. Then it will all crumble apart. It'll be kind of all stuck together because of the acrylic paint at first, but you'll get it to come out after a bit. Somewhere in here's ours. There we go. That's like some just dyed sawdust.
Careful with that green baggie, right?
Yeah.
After October.
That's Ross from
October the 1st, guys.
Dollar Store. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's legal again. Well, legal again.
Dollar Store. Yeah. So some Ross from a Dollar Store that you can.
And I assume before you throw it in the oven, you ask she who must be obeyed's permission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't have that problem myself.
There you go.
That's fine.
There you go.
And this here, that's homemade ground foam, like you would see at Woodland Scenics. Matter of fact, the Dollar Store, I don't know if they still have it or not, carry bags of foam that's all ground up. And do the same thing with
I'm
craft
gonna put
paint,
this up, you're gonna pull it.
dirt, any kind of color.
Put this up and you will pull it.
Different shades of green in here.
Do you just mix a bunch of...
Well, the foam was actually, had a yellow color, so, the paint didn't exactly dye it all evenly. Then the other thing, of course, I use on here is just different kinds of sand.
So when you actually paint it, like, are you putting it in like a small jar with a little bit of paint at the bottom and just mixing it
Yeah,
up?
just, put it in a tub, right?
And just mix it all like
A
that.
handful of sawdust in there.
Right.
Mix it till it all gets
Right.
green, then
Dump it all out,
spread
and
it
the rest
out
of it will dry out, yeah.
A piece of newspaper, let it dry overnight.
Very cool.
How do you grind that up? You just sand it?
It was already ground like that.
Oh,
This one is sawdust.
That's
okay.
the foam.
Yeah.
This is really fine sand.
Yeah, that again came from the Dollar Store.
The Dollaramas can be very useful places.
So this is not dyed?
Nope, that's the natural color, yeah.
It was in the
And you can
dollar
add
store.
that, and you can add that to your
We used to
basket.
have them in jars that would have 3 layers,
Yeah.
like you get some
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Sand sculpture thing.
yeah, I guess they use them like for putting in like fish bowls to put flower arrangement,
Yep,
things
yeah,
like that.
I've seen those, yeah.
And
Some were the same kind.
Yep,
bring a bead gun set.
yep, exactly, yeah,
That
why not?
store, that would be 10. It's $1, it said. $100.
Yeah.
Good, great.
I've also bought like little small rocks people use for crafting, like little
And
crystals.
then this
which you
here,
paint
like
them.
for earth, is just potting soil. That's the way it comes, and then that's some sifted.
Potting soil pot, seems to be a general theme.
You're gonna get ants. You're gonna get ants.
Not when it's all mixed up with white glue and painted, and I think they'll be pretty much toast. And that's the kind of effect you'll get with, then again, go out in your yard, twigs. For sticks and
Have you ever
things
used
on it.
silica sand?
Pardon?
Silica sand is pretty fine.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you can get, like, any kind of sand really, if you find it, and then sift it out, you know, in a tea strainer. You know, one of these little guys.
Yep.
And that'll get pretty fine, at least down for, you know, 1/35 stuff.
Again, those of you that share household accommodations, get your own, just a tip.
Again,
Yeah,
you know,
I've done it, yeah, I have one of those, yeah,
You
yeah.
mean I can't
It
take
doesn't cause
my,
any conflict.
Such a lack of understanding.
I
we
know.
just get along.
I may have not been married for as long as some of you guys, but I have learned a few lessons on the way.
So anyway, basically what I did was this, was start out with my good old foam core, strip of paper, glued together just with white glue. And that's what I started out with basically for this, before I put any plaster or anything on it. And that was just melted with some lacquer thinner to make the ditches along the side. And just, those pieces there, just tapered them with a scalpel to get the sort of the form that you want. And it's a good way of doing it, because then you can see what's going on, and you don't have to use, like, you know, big gobs of plaster to try to build up.
So to cut your foam like on the edges on the rock face going up, what do you use to cut it? Like wire or?
No, just a scalpel blade and on a, you know, on a shallow angle, and just whittle away at it.
I've heard some people on larger ones, I've seen people using like small planers and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah, when you get into like
Makes a
doing.
terrible mess, particularly when rasping.
Yeah.
That's like automatic vacuums.
And so then to sort
They're
of
great, yeah.
go ahead in time here a little bit, this is identical to that one there, except I put some plaster on it, rolled some wheels I had up and down, like where the tracks would be, you know, smooth everything out.
I don't need them, like I don't need them.
For these ruts, did you use
Because I
just
don't
a
need
light
them
or something?
for Pardon? He passes something
This
else.
looks like you applied some heat in there.
No, I just use lacquer thinner on a brush, just a very small amount, and just kind of dab at it and let it ease, and then like after it's evaporated, you can push out of the bit to push it in even a little bit more. Yeah. Then the other handy thing to get is like, this is just some twine, and it's like sisal, right? And another kind of twine, but just a bit finer. And I use that for making little shrubs and bushes like you see on here. I'll pass that around. You see a few, you can see little tufts of that sticking up here and there between the snow and.
Like dead grass.
Yeah,
Sort
yeah.
of sitting in the ditch or reeds.
Yeah, just like, you know, you're gonna have anywhere there's gonna be dry spots. Like if you look at your lawn over the past few days, right? There's more, just as much brown as green, you know, in it.
Well, when you shaved, did you keep all that fur just in case you could have used it?
No, I didn't see any use for it, right? I think I scared the crap out of my roommate though. He must have thought it was a critter in the garbage bucket in the bathroom. So anyway, when you take this stuff here with, I used like, I think it was ink from Games Workshop or somewhere like that. I used like green and yellow to dye these pieces of rope and twine and such. And some I've left just a natural color.
I find Games Work, I use a bunch of different inks. The Games Workshop ink is really good for getting, they do something with it that's some of the best.
Yeah, a lot of pigment in it, that's what it is.
I'm not a big fan of Games Workshop, but they can make a good ink.
Yeah. So anyway, once you dye that stuff, and then I'll show you how I put those in there, pass that along. That's just some of that stuff there added into that foam.
Don't sneeze.
Okay. And then this little particular piece of stuff, that's a plant starting pot that's made out of that cocoa fiber. Now you can pull that apart, and you got like real viney looking stuff. Like if you were to put that on the side of a building, you know, and then add in a little bit of green ground foam and everything here, it looked like a, you know, climbing vine, you know, kind of thing, right? You know, it's great stuff. Now, what I do to get all that into the foam and such, got a couple of tools here, and all these are basically a couple of sewing needles with the eye snapped off, so it leaves just a little U-shaped thing. So what I was kind of thinking of, like, think of when you're putting a plug in a rubber tire, you know, your car tire, right? And they use that kind of thing that's got a, you know, U-shape, push the plug in, then it's got a blade on the backside, and you pull it out and cuts the plug, right? But now I don't need a blade for this, I just want to push the stuff in, right? So all I got to do,
You just use the white glue to hold it in, or do you?
I go back afterward and do that, because when you try to do that, it sticks onto the tool and pulls up and everything, right? And it makes a mess, right? But if what you do here, if I can just pull that back for a second. Okay. Like, get the idea. So all I do is just take like a cut off like about, you know, you want about twice the length of what you want the height to be, right? And that's just a little bit of this rope. Just lay it on there. And then with this guy here, easy as that.
And there you go.
That is actually
Right?
pretty cool.
And so when you want to do smaller ones, that's just a smaller version. And then you can do the same thing with this kind of stuff here. You know, what I've done there is I've bundled some of the cocoa with some of the sisal to get kind of a really raggy looking thing, and do the same thing.
Very neat. Yeah.
Go back and trim it and modify that.
Yeah, and what you don't want to do is you don't want to take a pair of scissors in here and go snip. Because then it'll flatten the top, right? And then it looks like you took in a paintbrush and stuck it into the ground, right? Right, because paintbrush bristles can do the same thing as doing this kind of stuff. We got some old ratty, you know, coarse brushes. Chop them up to use them for the fibers for doing this stuff. And then to make kind of dead grass and almost like you've seen the static grass that the model railroaders use. I mean, a lot of people use that on their dioramas. But this is kind of an alternative to it. The grass won't stand up. But, you know, with grass it could be matted down, like say if it's in the springtime. You know, the grass will be matted down from the snow and nothing, it's dormant, right? So it's basically, you know, like brown and green mixed together. So I just take some of my, just the regular undyed stuff and some of the green. And then just with scissors, just snip off like about maybe 1/8 of an inch long, 3/32, something like that. Some even bigger pieces.
You've got your special mixing dish where?
Yeah, just
I like that. I'm going to buy
That was
it.
$20. High quality. Special edition.
Well, the stuff that was inside is gone now, but
Yeah, exactly.
and just to sort of get what that kind of looks like, if you put it on.
Then you just use diluted white glue or something?
Yeah, yeah. So you just, you know, spread that around, and I mean, it looks like, you know, dead matted grass.
some kind of soapy solution after the fact. I mean, it's some kind of gluey, thin bleach solution afterwards that would.
Yeah, all I use is like, I take like
Oh.
50% water, 50% white glue, and a drop of dish soap, and that makes it so it doesn't bead up.
Yeah.
And then you just go along with an eyedropper, drop it around, and
That seals it all in. So the same thing you do with the commercial stuff. It's exactly the same technique.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to spray it on with a spritzer because it blows
I know
everything.
some people have done, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, and you can go back, and just add more things in around there and everything to, build up different layers of things. I'm going to show a little bit of that on one of these pieces here in a second.
It's amazing how easy it is to get it. Such a neat effect.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks essentially like the static grass, like the
it
the
does,
blended static grass.
Yeah,
I
back
mean,
there, it's even up a little bit. Yeah, it's great.
yeah.
It's fabulous.
See, Doug, now you can make one of those for every single one of your planes.
I've got a few that I've built. Actually, I think I'll have to for that de Havilland DH2 because it's so flimsy.
Yeah,
And I feel like somebody will poke it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it in a plastic case. I'll probably. I've got a bunch of railroad grass and stuff at home.
There you go.
I might try some of these things.
Okay, so what I'll do is here is just now just painted that like just a basic brown, just to give me all the white plaster. Now what I would do with this, this is just broken up plaster of Paris that I've dyed with thinned out tan colored paint.
Just for purposes of timing, it's around 8:30, just so you know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, don't follow that clock.
Yeah, don't follow that one. That's why we're doing timings.
Not at all.
Yep.
Anyway, so we'd go ahead, like what I like to do with this stuff is put down some bigger stones and rocks around first as the first kind of layer, and I'll just use just straight glue for that.
Is that the carpenter's glue?
Yeah, you just or white glue.
Or white
doesn't
glue,
matter.
either one.
I didn't have any white glue left at the moment, so just kind of a couple of. Just spread around a bit of that stuff. And I don't worry about the color too much, as I generally go back and paint all this after, before I put, like, say, paint all the ground, and stones and everything first, and then dry brush them to highlight them a little bit. And then what I would do is go in, say, with
Your plaster Paris, so you make like a sheet of it a certain thickness.
well, it's whatever's left over in my little tub. When
So you
I've done-
break it up, then dye it?
Yeah, smash it up and then dye it. Yeah, with then it gets rid of all the white interior, right? And then I would go in, like, say, with some smaller stones, place them around. I'm not gonna, don't have time to do all of this right now, but you get the gist of it. And then go in and follow up with your finer dirt. Put some of that on. So, and then ultimately, once that's stuck down a little bit, let that set for a minute. Then you can go in with sprinkle a bit of that here and there, because I mean the grass is going to grow up between the rocks and things, right? So it gives them layers, of textures and colors when you do it like this.
Pesky dandelions.
And then with and then do that with your thinned out white glue, let it dry. And then you can go in and start doing your bushes and, you know, things like that. And I have, you know, various colors of, you know, the woodland scenic stuff. There's some burnt.
Now that you've got plaster on that foam core board stuff, do you still use your hook technique
Yep.
to get the grass in?
Yep.
It doesn't crack the plaster?
It might a little bit, but I mean, you're going to have so much dirt and rocks and rubble.
It's part of the effect.
Yeah, if you see any little white spots or anything, right, just touch them up, right? Yeah. You know, so you can get this in many, many colors, and then there's different textures of it. Like some of it is like almost like little bushes in themselves, right? And that's called like coarse turf. You know, and then you got fine turf. There's a medium. Eh? No, that's foam. Yeah, that's dyed foam. All woodland scenic stuff is all foam. And then this stuff is neat. And then of course what you can do is take a stick, you know, glue it down there, you know, put some more dirt and moss and things around it, and I mean it'll be a convincing like forest floor, you know, kind of thing, right? So anyway, you know, like I say, you go back in and paint all this, you know, down the middle of the road, like if it's a country road, be sure to put some green patches and a few little weeds sticking up, like in the middle. If it's a well-traveled road, a few oil stains there wouldn't hurt, you know, from something going wrong. Stuff like that. So anyway, I wanted to get on to doing one of these trees before we run out of time.
Can I borrow your stones for a second?
The what? These here? Yeah.
Yes.
And again, you can go back in here, like grind some of this stuff up and place it in around. Just vary it up. I mean, I use probably, you know, just about all of that stuff that's in there in some places or another on certain things. Right? But anyway, for the trees, what I use for that are just scouring pads. That's what these are made for.
Oh, that looked familiar. I couldn't quite, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Cool. You can get
what
those,
you do
you can get those
basically
cheap at the dollar store too.
Is what I've done here is I've taken this stuff and you can kind of peel it apart like in kind of layers. Of course, I won't do it now, but like if you take your time, right? Like, and you can peel that apart in the fairly thin layers and different size pieces and such. So basically, I take a bamboo skewer and I sand the tip like a little bit more tapered and pointed, right? And I make these pieces like kind of triangle, like as you see on like a spruce tree, you know, the kind of triangle looking. Stick them down, put a bit of glue around, you know, like that.
So simple.
This is kind of a double one here. It's got like, you know, kind of fan them out so that it makes a fairly round shape. So once you go all the way up with that, I mean, you end up with this. Now, what I've done with that is to just paint it with like red oxide paint. Then I went over the trunk with just a dark brown, some grays. You want to tone it down, you know, like trees like this don't really look brown on the trunks,
yeah.
you know, and look up your references. So once that's all done, then to do the flocking on it, it's hand me that box out of there so I don't get any spray adhesive on the floor. And what I'll do, and this is just 3M adhesive. And or you can use hairspray, but the hairspray tends to dry. a little bit quick. Thank you. So doing it like hold this up like this, right? Don't go spraying like all over. Waste not, want not. Yeah.
Just like decorating for Christmas.
Yeah.
Hasn't shown us how to do snow yet.
That's just baking soda. That's all that's it is on there, baking soda.
If you
Hot
want
and
to make it
cocaine,
pretty
baking soda.
Yeah.
broader, when you glue more pieces of glue
Of this?
back to the ends of the existing pieces.
Yeah, you could if you wanted to, yeah. But what I would do is like what I've done here, I've used wire under, just drill into the trunk.
Okay.
Use wire and then you can lay pieces on, right?
Sparse section of the Black Forest.
And there you go. Right, and that white stuff will kind of once it disappears, disappear. Yeah. And if it and also you can go back in like with some dull coat or something like that to
Seal it all right.
And again for snow, all you need to do with that from this point, a coat of adhesive and break out the baking soda. Right, and that's what you'll get right there like that.
Very cool.
So it doesn't take long, and I mean, it's not like you're doing a whole forest like the model railroaders have to do. If you've got these like at one corner of a little diorama, you know, vary the heights up, you know, put a few bushes and stuff like, you know, some of the stuff that was in the thing.
It's amazing how fast you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how great it looks.
Yeah.
70-second scale clock. Yes.
And then this is something I've been experimenting with, is making tropical type foliage out of tracing paper.
Okay.
Right, and basically I fold over paint the tracing paper like a base green and yellows first, and then once that's dry, fold it in half. Like say take a strip about maybe 3/4 of an inch wide, fold in half, cut out with scissors into a rough leaf shape, then use a X-Acto knife just to cut notches in it, and a piece of wire to make the curve of the leaf, like thin copper wire that you can paint, and stick it onto the back of the leaf with just some thick crazy glue, right? And then the groundwork and everything here has been done like the same way that I do this stuff, and then the puddle is done with epoxy, right? That I build up in a couple of layers and swirl some green paint and stuff through to make it look like, you know, this, you know, tepid, you know, swampy looking. I gotta take that.
Yeah, I'll hold it for a few minutes.
No problem.
We'll have it on video. You'll be able to take some pictures. See you later, Mary.
Doesn't it look good? It's just a demo. It's not for like it's not
keep
for a
it still.
figure or anything. It's just a demonstration.
Yeah, it was just a little test piece I did to see what it would look like. And of course, like, you know, you do a Vietnam era diorama, you know, some bamboo sticks sticking up and some taller
Yeah, that's awesome.
trees.
Looks great.
Snake, a couple of skulls.
Yeah, whatever you want, right? You know, and you could bury, or not bury, but like put an enemy in amongst that stuff, like with his gun barrel
Actually,
out
one
or something.
diorama I want to do is I've got a Japanese twin-engine fighter in a Huck starter truck, and I bought a set of Gurkhas.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sneaking up on the Huck starter with that.
Yeah.
So it's about 2022 now, just so you know.
Collecting
Okay,
ears.
about 22 now.
Yeah. But anyway,
That's awesome.
you know, if you try some of these techniques and then using some of these cheap materials, you know, you can make a pretty decent little diorama.
Where did you pick up the foam sheet? That's
Just a dollar store has a Walmart, anywhere really, that have a craft section.
okay.
And if you buy the Elmer's brand, that's the easiest to tear the paper off of.
Oh, okay.
Like if you go to,
Oh,
like,
that's what you, oh, okay.
yeah, you got to take the paper off first, or it'll warp the hell out of it. It'll, you know, you go down the next day after you've done all your groundwork, and here's the
Yeah, I
diorama
remember you
like
mentioned
this.
that last
People
time, yeah.
paint one side of the door and then you understand why it works.
Yeah,
I remember that.
so, and sometimes what I do with this too is like when I get to say this stage here, it's just all glued together and everything, I give it a coat of like satin polyurethane, water-based, just to seal it all up so that if I do, like say, use dull coat or anything like that, right, it doesn't like melt your diorama.
Right. That's great, awesome.
But anyway, guys, any other questions?
Any questions, gentlemen?
Anybody try any of the brickwork at all that we talked about? Yeah.
Haven't yet, haven't had a reason to, but the next one after
Well,
this.
if you want, you know, a little bit of, anytime you do give it a go and you go, how the hell did he do that again?
Yep.
Right, just, you know, give me a shout
Go back
on
to, yep,
Facebook
and we
or
have the video
email.
and we're gonna post that and all that, so that's awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks a
Okay.
lot.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank
It's
you.
just
Yeah.